1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, so if possible, remain celibate. Nevertheless, because of our strong sexual desires and to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. The word benevolence in the Greek is ioneia. It's the Strong's word G2133, and it means kindness, euphemistically conjugal duties, benevolence, goodwill. The wife hath not power of her own body, but the husband. And I'm sure that today's courts would steadfastly disagree with this statement. And likewise also the husband hath not power of his own body, but the wife. Defraud ye not one the other, so don't keep refusing your spouse her due, except it be with consent for a time, that you may give yourself to fasting and prayer. And after that period of time, come together again, that Satan tempt you not in your incontinency. Your lack of self-control. Sexual desire is one of the strongest desires. But I speak this by permission and not of commandment. So this isn't a commandment of God, just some advice from a godly man. Let's go to Leviticus for a command of God. Let's go to chapter 18, verse 19. Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put apart for her uncleanliness. The ERV says it like this. You must not go near a woman to have sexual relations with her during her monthly time of bleeding. She is unclean during this time. And let's go back to the King James, pick it up at verse 7. For I would that all men were even as myself, being celibate, but every man has his proper gift of God, one after this manner, being celibate, being single, and another after that, being married. I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide even as, and again, being single or celibate. But if they cannot contain, if their sexual desires are too strong, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn. And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord, let not the wife depart from her husband. But, and if she depart, on her own accord, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. Let's go to Matthew chapter 5 for a second witness. Let's start with verse 31. It hath been said in Deuteronomy chapter 24, verses 1 through 4, whosoever shall put away his wife, let him give her a writing of divorcement. But I, and this is Jesus speaking, say unto you, that whosoever shall put away his wife, saving for the cause of fornication, causes her to commit adultery. So basically causes her to go into another man's arms. And whosoever shall marry her that is divorced committeth adultery. Back to 1 Corinthians, pick it up at verse 12. But to the rest speak I, not the Lord. If any brother hath a wife that believeth not, and she is pleased to dwell with him, let him not put her away. And the women which hath an husband that believeth not, and if he be pleased to dwell with her, let her not leave him, because your dedication might bring your spouse to come to the Lord. Verse 14. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Else were your children unclean, but now they are holy, being raised in the faith by that believing spouse. But if the unbelieving depart, let him depart. A brother or a sister is not under bondage in such cases. So if your spouse wants out because you're, quote, too religious, then let him go. But God hath called us to peace. So if possible, love and live harmoniously with your unbelieving spouse. For what knowest thou, O wife, whether thou shalt save thy husband? Or how knowest thou, O man, whether thou shalt save thy wife? But as God hath distributed to every man, as the Lord hath called every one, so let him walk. So ordain I in all churches. Is any man called being circumcised? So a believing Jew, let him not become uncircumcised. So the believing Jew shouldn't feel that he has to keep the Christian traditions of men. Is any called uncircumcised, meaning the Gentiles, let him not be circumcised. And the same thing applies for the believing Gentile. Don't think you have to become a rabbinic Jew and follow their traditions of men, meaning the Talmud. So be content with wherever God has placed you, but always put God and His law before all else. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but keeping the commandments of God. And if those commandments are truly written in our hearts, we would want to keep them. Let every man abide in the same calling wherein he was called, and again, called by God. Art thou called being a servant? Care not for it. So if you were called when you were a slave, be at peace with it. But if thou mayest be made free, use it rather. So go for it. For he that is called in the Lord being a servant is the Lord's free man. Likewise, also he that is called being free is Christ's servant or slave. Ye are bought with a price, and that price was Christ's blood. Be not ye the servants of men, but be servants of Christ. He is the one who purchased us. Brethren, let every man wherein he is called therein abide with God. Now, concerning virgins, I have no commandment of the Lord. Yet I give my judgment as one that hath obtained mercy of the Lord to be faithful to him. I suppose, therefore, that this is good for the present distress, meaning the persecution that those early Christians were under, and in some places, even we Christians today. I say that it is good for a man so to be, so remain as you are. Art thou bound unto a wife? Seek not to be loosed. Art thou loosed from a wife? Seek not a wife. But, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And if a virgin marry, she hath not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, meaning the extra challenges that come with a marriage. But I would spare you. But this I say, brethren, that the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. So our focus should be on the Lord first and foremost. And they that weep as though they wept not, because our troubles are only temporary. And they that rejoice as though they rejoiced not, and again, because our good fortune is only temporary. And they that buy as though they possessed not, because our possessions are also only temporary. And they that use this world as not abusing it. So yes, we live in this world, but don't be obsessed with it, for the fashion of this world passeth away. So again, focus on the Lord, because everything in this life is only temporary. But I would have you without carefulness, so I don't want you to add to your worries. He that is unmarried careth, or is able to care, for the things that belong to the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he that is married careth for the things that are of the world, and how he may please his wife. So his concerns are divided. There is a difference also between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman careth, again, is able to care for the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and spirit. But she that is married careth for the things of the world, and how she may please her husband. And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you. I don't want to make you feel trapped in your particular situation, but for that which is comely. But instead I want you to feel good, and that ye may attend upon the Lord without distractions. But if any man think that he behaveth himself uncomely towards his virgin, if she pass the flower of her age and need so require. So if a man starts to feel like he wants to marry and start a family, but time is running out because they are both getting older, let him do what he will, he sinneth not, let them marry. Nevertheless, he that standeth steadfast in his heart, having no necessity to get married, but hath power over his own will, and hath so decreed in his heart that he will keep his virgin, he also doeth well. So then he that giveth her in marriage doeth well, but he that giveth her not in marriage doeth better, because he can devote his time and energy in serving the Lord. The wife is bound by the law, remember the marriage covenant, as long as her husband liveth. But if her husband be dead, she is at liberty to be married to whom she will, only in the Lord, but only to a fellow believer. But she is, or would be, happier if she so abide in singlehood after my judgment, meaning that's just my opinion. And I think also that I have the Spirit of God. Let's go to chapter 8.